Net neutrality is a thing people have been saying a lot of on the internet recently, but what the hell is it, and why should you, presumably a gamer, give a shit about it? Well, net neutrality affects an awful lot of what goes on the internet, at least in the US, and it could be about to change in a big way.
Net neutrality is the idea that everything on the internet is treated the same. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, they all have a level playing field. For example, in terms of how quickly they can send data to your computer. In other words, Facebook couldn't just say to your internet provider, hey, here's a bunch of money, please make sure Facebook loads faster than any other social media site. Net neutrality means that big companies can't fiddle things behind the scenes and affect the freedom of choice that you have when using the internet. So a vote by the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, brought that idea into law in the US in 2015. It guaranteed that net neutrality, the idea that all internet content should be treated equally and that companies cannot f around with what you access on the internet, it guaranteed that all that was enshrined in law. But all that could be reversed by a new FCC vote on May 18th.
The new FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, a former Verizon lawyer appointed to the post by Donald Trump, has announced plans to overturn the net neutrality order with a new proposal the FCC calls Restoring Internet Freedom. Well, it can only be a good thing with a name like that, right? The big internet service providers in the US, that's AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, and so on, argue that net neutrality rules are too heavy-handed and will stifle innovation and investment in the industry. Pai himself said that the 2015 rules put the government at the center of the internet when, in his words, nothing is broken, and that the net neutrality rules were based on hypothetical harms and hysterical prophecies of doom. But why do so many people say that losing net neutrality is bad news? Well, content providers on the internet like Netflix, Apple, and Google all argue that people already pay for connectivity and so deserve even and quality internet access. Actually, more than 800 startup investors and organizations contacted Ajit Pai saying that without net neutrality, the incumbents who provide access to the internet would be able to pick winners or losers in the market. They could impede traffic from our services in order to favour their own services or establish competitors, or they could impose new tolls on us, inhibiting customer choice.
I know what you're thinking, well, why are you stepping into politics? Well, we're not really talking about politics, okay? This is about the consumer, because at the end of the day, whenever there's a situation like this where it gives companies an opportunity to pay, to have an upper hand, it's like a pay-to-win game against a player, apart from the player you're playing against has billions of pounds and you've got £3.70 on your bank because you spent all your student loan on drinks.
All of the big internet service providers, there's like 5 or 6 companies at the top who would gain from getting rid of net neutrality. They're the ones who want to get rid of it. They could do deals behind the scenes, they could do all kinds of stuff, and then what they're saying is that the government are regulating the internet and they're clamping down on things that don't need clamping down on, and freedom is what it's all about. But net neutrality also ensures a different kind of freedom for consumers, freedom to choose what you see on the internet, and that's a big part of the internet, is the fact you can go anywhere and do whatever you want. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, one of them can't prioritize your download speed, your connection over the other. Anyway, this is a gaming channel, so let's get into that stuff. Alright then, what does any of this actually have to do with gaming specifically? Well, if you haven't noticed, the internet is kind of important for gaming these days. More and more, we're downloading our games rather than buying them for a shop or even a website. But even then, buying games from websites could be affected by changes to net neutrality rules. What if access to one website was much slower or difficult than another website? What if Amazon had a monopoly over internet speeds? What if it was much easier and preferable for everyone to connect to Amazon because you could just do it quicker and easier?
So downloading a game can be anywhere up to 50 gig these days, and maybe even more. So it's fair to expect that your download speeds won't be throttled by ISPs for any untoward reasons. And what about latency in online gaming? Lag. With net neutrality laws gone, what would stop ISPs with their newfound freedom from charging extra for a special low latency, lag-free option? Gamers are among the most internet-orientated people around. If you're not playing a game online, you're buying one, buying DLC for it, reading about it online, or watching videos about it. Hello. You, us, we have a big stake in this.
Net neutrality covers so much ground. It affects so much of our day-to-day use of the internet as gamers. Net neutrality means no blocking. You must get access to all lawful sites on the internet. Now imagine you had limited access to your favorite news blog, but you could access big sites like IGN, no problem. The big websites would dominate the smaller voices on the internet, and that would be a terrible thing. What if you could easily access Steam, but not GOG? I mean, all this is hypothetical, but that's the point. It is a hypothetical scenario, but it's one that net neutrality protects against. I feel like the net neutrality rules are good for everyone except the big internet service providers, and they are going to have a big voice, especially in stuff like this. They're going to have lobbyists and stuff. They're going to be able to influence laws and stuff. They employ a lot of people. They're worth a lot of money. They're going to have a big say on this, and that's fine. That's fair. That's part of capitalism. That's how it works. But there's loads of businesses beneath them. There's loads of people beneath them. Loads of consumers beneath them. They'll have to pay the price for their benefit, for the benefit of these big companies. There's a lot of smaller companies underneath that will have to bear the brunt of any changes to net neutrality.
We all know it's bullshit. If it's a game developer, we're a bit more well versed as a gaming community. Whenever EA or Bethesda sue somebody, a little developer, we're always the first people to call them out. Yeah. This is like that, but on a bigger and scarier scale. And can you imagine the dominance that the big guy would have over the lovely, little developers and us as gamers, everything.
No guarantee they're going to be lovely just because they're little, by the way. Just want to put that out there. They might be knobheads. The biggest argument in favour of removing net neutrality is that thing that all of these scary situations, blocking websites, throttling download speeds, it's all hypothetical. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And it didn't happen before the net neutrality laws came into effect in 2015. But you've got to admit that having that safety net there to guarantee that your right to access everything freely is got to be a good thing. It's got to be good that you can access some guy's small blog just as quickly and easily as you can access IGN or GameSpot.
Yeah, it's not an either or situation. It's better safe than sorry. You wouldn't not lock your door at night just because crimes don't always happen. They could happen, so you lock your door. And it's not harming anybody if you do lock your door or not. It's like this. Net neutrality isn't harming anybody apart from people that have got 8 zeros at the end of their paychecks. Do you know what I mean? So there's no harm in it being there at all. But if it gets taken away, you can't get on with this. We can't get on.
There's no net neutrality. Also, one big final point. This only affects US. Why should I give a shit? Because basically every website or every games company, they've got a big audience in America. There's a big link to America. The US absolutely dominates the video game market in the West. This is going to have a huge bearing on everyone. You should all care about this. And there's no saying that this kind of thing couldn't roll out to the rest of the world. Net neutrality is a concept. It's not just a set of laws specific to one country. It's an ideal almost. Everything on the internet should be free and open, and any changes to that, any effects to that in America could have a big bearing on everywhere else. Let us know down in the comments what aspects of this you care about. Let us know what you think is a big deal in net neutrality. This is a huge conversation. We just wanted to have that conversation on this channel and just alert anyone who wasn't quite aware of this. Net neutrality is a big deal. If just read about it, just look it up, find out more about it on your own. That's as good as I can say. And definitely at least have an opinion on it. Do not just pass this off as something you shouldn't care about, because you absolutely should. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There will be another video right here if you want to watch that. A link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.